You don't need Netflix, you don't need cable. Hop on YouTube, welcome to the hood table, where we chop up local and global events vocally. You don't really wanna miss out on these conversations. Just joke a little, laugh a little. Get that wine in your system, fill your glass a little. Expose current events, talk trash a little. You never know, these opinions might clash a little. They addicted to the content, got them binge watching. You don't like it, then you want invited. Bet your friends watching in the house and in your job parking lot before you clocking. They don't wanna miss a second of this HT content. Everybody think they got something to say, so it's an open invitation, bring it to the table. But if you come whack, just know we ain't buying in. We gon' probably turn your back and tell you sorry, try again, Yeah, welcome to the hood table. You don't need Netflix, you don't need cable. Yeah, welcome to the hood table. You don't need Netflix, you don't need cable.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Come on in, come on in. Make sure you like and share the video on your way in. I hope you guys can hear me really well. Make sure you also subscribe to the channel if you happen to be new here. And if you want to donate to the platform or to the commentary, of course, the Cash App is scrolling across the bottom. $, the hood table 402. What up, C Green? How you doing, boo? Or you can hit the super chat. And lately I've been having my goal for the super chats so that I can do a Q&A. That's what the goal will go to. Me doing a Q&A. I haven't done a Q&A in probably almost since the very beginning of when the hood table was created. That's been years, y'all. That's been years, y'all. I'm like, oh, they didn't want to ask me no questions, I guess, because I ain't been able to reach my goal yet. What up, 400? I know I just had uploaded the video of the funeral that was held today. You guys know that in our city, 3 young girls, well, a little girl and 2 teenage girls went missing, and they were fishing in the Missouri River, and they went missing. Somebody witnessed them struggling in the water. A bystander was able to rescue one of them because it was 4 girls all together fishing, and they got swept away in the water in the Missouri River. So, you know, I've been covering that. It is local news, and I do local news, of course, but I've been covering that ever since it happened in April. And it took weeks. But one of the bodies was recovered, I think 2 or 3 weeks later. And then a week later, then the other 2 bodies were recovered. So all 3 bodies were recovered, being that the family is a close-knit family. It's an Asian family, and it's also a Black African-American family. They're close-knit. They grew up together, the kids, always hung together. So they decided to have their funeral together. So that's what happened today. The funeral happened today. So I had uploaded that earlier. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I tried to get through without crying, but man, I'm telling y'all, that was a very, very, very sad funeral. But it just lets you know how equally yoked we can be. Even though we come from 2 different lifestyles, 2 different parts of the world, and meet up together and become friends and become acquainted and become tight-knit with a new community. That's basically what happened to the Asian family. They became really, really close to Leanna's family, and it's just beautiful. I'm so glad and thankful again to all the people who worked very, very hard. The preachers gave a shout out to the recovery team, to our local, the people who live here who risked their lives walking up and down the Mighty Mo, the Missouri River. Child, if you know, you know. The Mighty Mo goes across a lot of states and meets up with the Missouri River and another river. It's a very scary and can be dangerous river at the same time, but a lot of people do swim and fish in that thing every year. Boats be up and down that mug. Me, I don't go near that river. But anyway, the girls, their bodies were recovered, and the funeral was today. And so just continue to keep those families in your prayers. as they deal with the after effects of even putting them to rest. And they're should be meeting right about now to have the repass, meet up and eat and, all that stuff. But anyway, so I want to get into the Diddy trial day 4, but while I was taking notes for the Diddy trial, I saw Chris Brown. Did y'all see he had been arrested over in the UK? Okay, let me read this real quick. All right. So it says here, singer Chris Brown was arrested Thursday in England for allegedly hitting someone with a bottle in a London nightclub in 2023. The Metropolitan Police did not name Brown, but said it took a 36-year-old into custody at a Manchester hotel on suspicion of causing grievous bodily harm. Under British law, police cannot name suspects before charges are filed. The Sun, which first reported the story, saw producer Abe Dial told them Sunday that he was hospitalized after Brown beat him in an unprovoked attack at the Tate nightclub in the swanky Mayfair neighborhood in London in February 2023. Dial told the Sun that Brown allegedly hit him over the head. Beat that bitch with a bottle. No, just playing. Just playing. This is serious, y'all. But anyway, hit him over the head with a bottle before punching and kicking him as he lay on the floor. Breezy? Damn. Anyway, the tabloid said it became aware Brown was in the UK. Like, why the fuck? Okay, this is crazy. You over there beating niggas down, busting them in the head with bottles, kicking and stomping them on the floor, and you back over there? That'd be the last. I wouldn't go nowhere near London, nowhere near England, nowhere over there, okay? But anyway, they found out his ass was in the UK Wednesday, which was yesterday. And so they called the police to find out if he was under arrest. And the newspaper said Met officers then traveled to Manchester and they made the arrest. Brown's representatives did not immediately respond to a request for comments from the Associated Press. Okay, it said Dow said Brown, who was in a UK tour at the time. So in 2023, Chris Brown was on a tour, cracked him over the head with a bottle, and punched and kicked him on the floor. The producer has filed a $12 million lawsuit against Chris Brown. And they go on to say, as some of us already know, Brown has a history of legal issues dating back to his felony conviction in 2009 assault of his then girlfriend, Riri, aka Rihanna. He pleaded guilty to felony assault at the time. In 2014, Brown pleaded guilty to hitting a man outside a Washington, D.C. hotel. And in 2024, yet again, Brown, along with his paid entourage, allegedly beat several men who attended his concert in Texas. Earlier this year, Brown sued Warner Brothers Discovery for defamation over labeling the singer as an abuser. Is he not? In the 2024 documentary, Chris Brown, I can't even talk. A History of Violence is what they named the 2024 documentary. The singer is launching an international tour next month with artists Jelene Ecole, I know I said that wrong, Summer Walker, I know I said that right, and Bryson Tiller. Hey, I love them. Opening with an European leg before starting North America shows in July. I don't know if he's going to be welcome over there. I don't know. But he's always in some type of trouble. The bad boy, Chris Breezy. He certainly ain't the cute boy that I remember, back in the day. But anyway, I still remember going to that concert. The first time he came to Nebraska, we won those tickets. Matter of fact, my oldest son at the time, I think he was probably, I want to say maybe 9 or 10. He was really young. And so the radio station here was like, anybody can call in and sing a Chris Breezy song, like the whole song, win 4 tickets. It was like 4 or 5 tickets or something. And my son was in the car. I just picked him up from school and picked the other one up from daycare. And he was like, Mom, I can do it. I can do it. And I know I already knew he loved Chris Brown. He had his CDs and everything, which I bought, of course. But I knew he loved Chris Brown. He was always singing the song. We was always playing it around the house. And he was like, I can do it. I can do it. I said, no, you can't. I forgot the name of the song that they wanted him to sing or wanted people to sing. But anyway, I was like, okay. So I called the radio station. And you know, when you call the radio station, to be busy. I called and called. My son was like, please keep calling, Mama. Finally, I got through. I was like, oh my God, I got through. And the man was like, oh, you want to sing the Chris? Nope, but my son does. And I handed him the phone. And before the DJ could even tell him to get started or whatever, my son just started going through the lyrics, the whole damn song. And I'm sitting there like, now, I can't even like sing a whole song. Well, maybe there's a few songs that I know very, very well that I could probably sing the whole entire song just off the rip. But yeah, he did that shit. And we sure went up there and picked up our Chris Brown tickets. And that was the first concert that my children had went to. And it was lit. I ain't gonna lie, I ain't gonna hold you. Chris Brown, from then till now, I ain't been to his concert since that one, but I hear he still gives some really great, lively concerts. But yeah, it was pretty entertaining. But anyway, he's locked up right now. And the worst thing about it is you don't want to be locked up, not in your own homeland. I don't want to be locked up in a different city, in a different state. There's cities around us that when I say we, look at the back of your hand. Y'all know who I'm talking about. When I say we, like an hour away, like cities where there's cities around us where you don't go after. We is in Nebraska, okay? There's still plenty of places on the outskirts of the city, if you drive some hours, where you do not want to be after sundown. I'm just saying. Yes, absolutely. But anyway, let me get his big head off the screen. And let's get into this Diddy Day 4. Now, a lot of y'all have been following along. A lot of y'all been watching the videos, whether it's on YouTube, whether it's the news channels, whether it's somebody on or IG, TikTok, Facebook. A lot of y'all been following along. So just follow along with me. And if you want to jot something down in the chat or if you got questions, I'll try to answer. But I'm literally just doing my commentary off of what we've been hearing and what we've been seeing, because we can't watch the court case because it is not public, and a lot of the information is sealed, like the pictures. You know, we get like certain things like the testimony, the words that are being said, you know, on the stand, but like the picture, the video and audio and things like that, we cannot see, we won't ever see, because that stuff is sealed. And of course we understand why, because it can basically, people who were involved in that with Diddy, the ones who allege that they were actually victims and abused, they can be re-traumatized, right? You don't want nobody in the public, your next door neighbor, your pastor, your mama and them, seeing you sucking on some dang, right? Or you get beat or urinated on, or, you know, different kind of things that was going on with these freak off parties, right? You don't want that public. So I absolutely understand, regardless of the press and their attorneys who are trying to get the judge to allow that stuff to be seen by them. Anywho, don't trust the press. You can trust me. You can show me, but I wouldn't show nobody, I promise. But the child of press, they've been to show something so quick just to get that clout. Shit. Then you got to sue them. And then most of them is under a LLC or something, so you won't get shit. So you know how it goes. But anyway, let me pull up my little notes here, because it's time for the docket. And again, y'all, make sure y'all coming on in and make sure y'all liking and sharing that video. I know we are a small crowd here, but please make sure you like and share the video so much. Hold on, somebody's sending me a text message. Okay, sorry, that was my youngest son text messaging me. Okay, what's up, Heavy Bear? How you doing? Come on in, come on in. Okay, I got my notes pulled up here so we can get this party started. And of course, towards the end, I will drop the link. Yesterday when we went live to discuss this case, I did drop the link. And 400, who was in the chat, popped up here with me. And I think the other day, Noble hit the link and popped up here with me. So we was discussing that and discussing Power TV show and all that. So, I have no problem dropping the link if anybody wants to join me. But let's discuss just a little bit of yesterday that came out after I went live. So we already talked about yesterday on the stand. Cassie had said, now we had thought that she had got paid $30 million, but that was the rumors. The rumors in the streets last year was $30 million, right? But she had admitted yesterday that she received $20 million for settling her civil case. And now the government has finished their direct examination of Ventura. And that was yesterday. Now, today she is doing the cross, right? Now, one thing about that case, about the civil case and the money, normally under normal or typical circumstances, about a civil case, when you are paid, in most, I'm just going to say, reach out and say, I'm pretty sure Diddy probably had her sign some type of disclosure, right? Most of the time when you settle out of court, sometimes they do, well, most of the time they do make you sign some type of disclosure. So you won't talk about it. You won't talk about the case. You won't bring up anything in the future, right? Things like that to prevent you from revealing the details of the agreement. Now, if there's a subpoena involved and you got to go to court, you got to go to the big house and you get a subpoena, then that all goes out the window. So I know some people's like, well, is she going to get in trouble, for talking about the civil agreement or, things like that. And that's basically what the lawyers are saying. The attorneys are saying that I've been watching. Nope. When a subpoena comes into play, you have to get on that stand. You can't say you're not going to court because you will be in violation. Okay. You will be in contempt. All right. So yeah, she had to, regardless, she had to speak about it if they asked her about it. But they said that's because there's like a loophole that provides someone to speak about it if they have to appear in court. So that's that on the civil case. Now, Cassie yesterday, she had described hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of freak offs that she had participated in. So any of those freak offs that she claimed that she had in the very beginning, because people are asking, was she really trafficked? Was she really abused? Was she really coerced? She was describing a lot of the transactions between the prostitutes as far as Diddy paying them. She was also describing a lot of the locations. I mean, they were here on land. They were overseas. They were state to state to state, which is also involving the trafficking accusations. Because, even if, and just so y'all know, for the ones who don't know, trafficking, you can be in the same room. You can be in a hole in the wall. You can be in a basement. If somebody is forcing you to do sexual acts and they're also like paying people for it, it could be 10, 20 men in a day come to the same room. You ain't got to walk out that door. That's still trafficking. Just want to make sure that's clear. I'm sure most of y'all already know that. But anyway, it was so many freak offs that she couldn't even recount how many there was exactly. But what she said, I'm up here like what she told us, what she told the court. She can't recount how many it was altogether, but it was weekly, as we heard. They would last from 1 to 4 days. We know that sometimes when she was with the prostitutes, it would last sometimes an hour to 10 hours. That was just, herself. But if they had like the freak offs where there was a lot of people there and stuff, that shit lasted like 1 to 4 days. She did also say that they were swingers, that Diddy was involved, which I already guessed that. Because if you're willing to do all this type of shit, all the shit that people are accusing him of, men and women, you gotta be in the swinging business. You got to. So anyway, she said, yeah, they went to swinging clubs. They were part of swinging. They were regulars at swinging clubs in LA and Vegas. And I'm just thinking, like, Imagine having to engage in all of those freaky, nasty sexapades, slathered and covered in baby oil, which some people claim. We was talking about this yesterday. I don't know if 400 still in the chat, but we was talking about this yesterday, how people are alleging that he's putting something in the baby oil. Because again, I say, how many fucking bottles of baby oil does a person need? Even if you're having sex parties, that's a lot. He had, man, that nigga had so many baby. I put baby oil Johnson Johnson out of business if he bought all them shits. Okay, I'm surprised he didn't buy the whole business. I mean, he had to be getting them from, like, I don't know, China, or maybe just Sam's Club. You know, just ordering bulk boxes and boxes and boxes of baby oil. But anyway, they were saying that he's putting some type of chemical or drug, this is allegedly, into the baby oil to make people paralyzed. I don't know if y'all believe that or not. I don't even know if some of y'all heard that or not. But yeah, they were saying that whatever he's putting in his baby oil is not just for them to be all greased up and slathering and looking all sexy or whatever they want to. I don't know. But this is allegedly, again, this is what people have been saying. However, again, I don't understand why they needed so much of it. But anyway, she also described how she was always on drugs. She was always high. How she had developed an opioid addiction because she had to take downers in order to numb herself. Because after all the freak offs, we heard how she was in pain all the time. She was in pain all the time, not just because you're having sex all day and all night, days on end, but she was getting like not STDs, but UTIs. She was getting UTIs, and we heard her say yesterday that the medicine that she was taking for it wasn't even working anymore. Yet she was still being forced, allegedly, to keep having sex and participate in these free calls. So not only was she just tired and exhausted from all the sex, all the activities from the free calls, not getting enough sleep, also the physical pain from the UTI and the drugs, and it was just a lot. And then you go into swinging clubs on top of that. You know what? The good thing about it, that girl was young. Not saying it that way, but she was 19. Her body can recuperate. As we saw, that girl then put out 3 kids after she got married a couple of years after leaving Diddy. Her and her husband got 3 kids. She still looks great. Okay, so, you know, had this been an older person, shit, that'd been all she wrote if they had to endure all that over all those years. But one thing they did ask her, did you try to avoid anything in the free calls? And she said, I tried to avoid kissing because it seemed too intimate. But Diddy told her to do it, to kiss the escorts, to kiss the prostitutes. To kiss the prostitutes. Now, see, they were talking today about Cassie. Do you think you were really in love with him? Were you really in love with him? Describe your relationship. I really do think that Cassie was in love with him, especially meeting him at 19 years old, even though she probably at the beginning when they first met, she was under the assumption she was really going to get that 10 album deal, end up really, really rich and famous. You know, and then once they started their relationship, she's young, she's 19, she's with this big music mogul, as they keep calling him, larger than life personality, persona. He's so rich and famous, millionaire, and you know, you're 19. So I do believe that she was in love. She was probably in love with him for quite some time while they were dating and even engaging in this free calls, and it kind of started withering away towards the end. But as far as him, there is no way in hell. Somebody said the other day that they think he loved her too. I'm sorry. Real love, I could never put anybody through, even if it was consensual. Let's say it was consensual. Let's say the government, they loses their case and the defense is able to prove that it was consensual, that Diddy didn't commit any crimes. Still, your woman that you lay with every night, You don't have a problem with them having sex with all these people and being urinated on and catching UTIs and still having sex every day, even though it hurts, it's very painful down there. I mean, what kind of love is that? I do not believe that he was in love with that girl ever. I still think that he got her at a very young age to use her, manipulate her, and intimidate her, and use her as a toy. As a toy, he was an old, nasty freak. He wanted somebody young who would go along with that shit, and she happened to be the one. That's what I believe. That's what I believe. But anywho, it's in the court's hand right now. And what up, Mel? Hey, boo. But after years of what the government is calling forced labor, she was like, fuck that shit. And of course, you know, every time she tried to run away or escape Diddy, he would whoop her ass. He would beat her, as we witnessed, the entire world witnessed that hotel situation. We saw him at the hotel during one of the freak off events. And it seemed as though, as if, you know, again, in the beginning, Cassie, which is what the defense is trying to prove, that she enjoyed these freak offs. And again, I say in the beginning, I think she did enjoy them because she was trying to make him happy. She was trying to keep him happy. She did say one point yesterday that one of the reasons why she didn't go for good when she probably could, she didn't want him to do what he was doing to other people. You can take that however you want, but that's what she said. We do know that some people in relationships, they be like, ain't the next bitch ain't about to have this after all the shit I done been through, after all the work I done to put into this relationship and this home, and whoop and some other bitch just come up in here. Y'all know. Y'all, especially y'all females. Y'all dudes too, shit. But anyway, so they were saying that she enjoyed it. But she also did claim that nobody in the public really knew, besides their closest of friends and, the people who participated in their activities, really even knew that they were together. And then at one point in time, they made their relationship public. That was years after they had been together. But not only did he beat her every time she tried to leave, but it was frequently on a regular basis that he would put his hands on her for one reason or another, because he is a monster. In court yesterday, the jury was able to see the images of the injuries from some of the beatings that she sustained, and what some may call, again, a rapper, a music mogul, a larger-than-life character. Diddy also had, obviously, another side to him, like a Jekyll and Hyde complex, a Jekyll and Hyde personality, and a salacious, sexually explicit appetite. And it was one point in, oh, child, you know what? See, I've never been on a jury. Let me knock on wood again, like I had to do yesterday. I've never been summoned to be on a jury. But there was one particular time yesterday when a female jury, a jury member, after seeing the images, the visual, extremely graphic images of the freak-offs and the bruises and the injuries and things like that, she had to clutch her pearls, y'all. I kid y'all not. There was a lady juror, who had to clutch her pearls. She clutched her pearls, fake pearls, of course. She clutched her chest, grabbed her chest, and gasped in shock or disbelief. Probably both. Or maybe it was the fact that she was having pity, after hearing what, Cassie had said that she had allegedly been through. And I don't even want to say allegedly when it comes to the beatings. Okay, so allegedly she was trafficked. So allegedly, he kind of like pimped her ass out. Allegedly, she wasn't submissive, or she wasn't always into it. It wasn't always consensual, allegedly. But as far as the beating and the bruising, we know he was kicking that ass up and down hotel rooms and everywhere else. He was always laying his hands on her. So yeah, the lady was clutching her pearls. They said it was several times yesterday when the courtroom just fell silent because Cassie was reading through page after page of text messages, which continued today, by the way. We're going to get into some of that. But the text chain, there was 25 pages that she had to read through. Another one was like 14 pages, and they said the third one was like 8 pages. So it was pages and pages that Cassie had read through text messages starting yesterday, which continued today. Now, another thing that Cassie got on the stand to say yesterday was that when they went to that dinner conversation, remember when they had that closure conversation? She talked about them going to dinner, talking about she was trying to leave him for good, trying to just have closure, leave on peaceful terms, as peaceful as the two of them can get, I guess. And she was attempting to break up with him. And she ended up we know she got raped. And that was what the whole lawsuit was for in 2023. I keep saying last year, but you know how it is with the new year. But it was before that. So it's been like a year and a half since, the lawsuit. But anyway, she filed the lawsuit against him in 2023. Now, they had asked her what had happened. She said we was having a closure conversation at a restaurant in Malibu. He was trying to convince her to go to Burning Man. And they said, well, what happened next? And she said he showed up at her house and he raped her on her living room floor. And she described him looking really scary, looking really crazy. His eyes were black. It looks like he was probably having an out-of-body experience while he was beating her and kicking her and stomping her while she was on the floor. And then after that, he raped her and he finished inside of her. Then he just got up and left. But some people think that he really was in love with that girl. I don't see it. Now, after that, they did say, if he did all that to you, why did you have sex with him again later? Because they asked her, did you ever have sex with him again? And she said voluntarily. They was having a good night. And see, that's the part that kind of lost me. Because after he did all that and they had a closure conversation at the restaurant, which led to him doing what he did to her on her living room floor. What you mean y'all was having a good night? A good night where? Like, did y'all just meet up and say, hey, how you doing? Let's talk. Let's go out. I don't. Anyway, she said she went back to his house and it was consensual. It was voluntarily that time. And she said, you know why? Because we have been together for 10 years. We talked about that trauma yesterday. You know how people had a Stockholm syndrome. They can't leave their abuser. They give them chance after chance, time after time. And they just, for some reason, they just can't leave. She finally did leave, though. What up, Cosmic Girl? How you getting? You said that shit got old. Yes, that shit got old. All that. I mean, I like have sex. I love having sex. Okay, a lot of people like having sex, but that much sex. Now, as a female, let's keep it funky here. We're gonna keep it hood, okay? If you have too much sex, even if it's with the same person, if you have too much sex, that shit can get raw down there. It can. I don't care how wet you can get. If you continue, you got to get that shit a break. Even niggas, it can happen to them. They shit can get raw and get sore and stuff if they haven't, if they having sex too much. They can get you got to give yourself a break and days on end and hours on end and you having sex down there. That's why her UTIs couldn't even go away. The medicine wasn't even working anymore. That is disgusting. She was being forced to have sex on her menstrual period too. Child. Hey, C Green. Oh, thank you so much, Cosmo. You said I love your commentary on this. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you. And C Green said, are you reading the transcripts? I took notes from several different people, as I always do when I cover court cases. And I did look up the transcripts as well. But there's certain things that, are sealed. So what we can gather, we have to gather from the people who are in court. the bloggers, you know. So I just been watching a lot throughout the day and taking notes. So yeah. But child, So she also described yesterday, because you know, after she left Diddy, she got married to Alex a couple of years later. At the time when they only had 2 children, because they got a third one on the way. But at the time when they had 2 children still, she described on the stand how one day she was just feeling down and out. They said she was feeling so burdened about everything she went through, you know, all the trauma, all the pain, all the abuse. They said one night in 2023, and I think this is what brought the lawsuit on, because she turned to her husband. Remember, you guys, we was talking yesterday about how much she probably revealed to her husband from her past and how much she probably did not reveal. So it was one night in particular, she turned to her husband. She was like, I don't want to be here anymore. I'm no good to you. I'm worthless. You can take care of the kids yourself. This is what Cassie said on the stand. And she was leaving the house to harm herself. And she said her husband, who has always been protective. Hold on, let me get something to drink. Ooh. You know how that is when you're talking a lot. Excuse me. Let me read your comments before I go on. You said, thank you. Oh, you welcome, babe. You welcome. And Mel said, like Rihanna said in that song, Wild Thoughts, get that kitty. You got to get that child. You got to get that kitty cat some rest. You got to get a kitty cat some rest if you want to keep on using the kitty. Okay? But yeah, so she said her husband, who's always been protective over her, supportive of her, he didn't want her to leave. He stopped her from leaving. He stopped her from hurting herself. And she said he literally saved her life. Literally saved her life. So then she did the lawsuit. She said she got the $20 million. We was talking about yesterday also, like, I wonder how much therapy she had to take. And, you know, she did say she took a lot of therapy for trauma and sexual abuse. And she's still healing from it. She's still healing from it, even though it's been years, even though she moved on, got married, and got 3 kids. She's still healing, which you can only imagine. People who've been through things like that and worse, it does take a lot of time. Sometimes you can never truly heal. But she's working on it. She's working on it. And thank God she has a loving husband who seems to be helping her get through it. And he's right there with her, because how many men you know would still be with a woman or want to even date a woman or have sex with a woman who's done all that? I mean, and then they was naming all the escorts, all the prostitutes that she was having sex with. Like, I thought before the court case, I thought it was just one, because they was always talking about this male prostitute. I thought it was just one, but it was many. And they would fly them out into different cities, even out of the country. I'm like, wow. But he was supposed to have loved her. Child. But anyway, overall, what they said about yesterday was that it was a very powerful day of testimony. And after today, they said today was as well. Another thing I heard a reporter say was, from day one, now we talked about this, but they said Diddy is still on that bullshit. From day one, they said Diddy is like, he's like transfixed on her. He's piercing her with his eyes. He's staring a hole in her ass. They said he won't even look away from her. Cassie has not looked at him one time. She walks in the court. She stares straight ahead. She sits on the stand and she stares at the people who's questioning her. And she refuses to look his way, look his direction, look at his family, because his mama and them there, his kids have been there, his family there. And she refused to look his way. She looks at like either her family and friends or at the, you know, the prosecutor attorney or the defense attorney, but she refuses to look at him. So we had talked about him trying to use them intimidating tactics, which I'm sure that's what he's trying to do. It ain't working. Day 4, it still ain't working. They said he looked like a statue. I wish I could be in court. They said he looked like a statue sitting there in that chair. His head won't move. He's just looking straight ahead and just staring at her. And I know he's just probably waiting. Like, it would just give him so much satisfaction The minute she looked at him, I think it would just give him so much satisfaction. Yes, Kimberly. Hey, honey. The UTI and the sores in the mouth. And when you say sores in the mouth, the only thing I can think of is herpes. I'm sorry, but which takes me back to Kels, because we know that he had herpes. A doctor even testified that Kels had herpes for years while he was out there doing all that shit to them people, and he knew he had herpes and was taking medicine secretly for years for the herpes. Anyway. Anyway, but yeah, they said it's like he's trying to intimidate her, which is, again, we know that's what he's doing. So after Cassie filed her lawsuit in 2023, it basically opened up a floodgate. It's like 40 more lawsuits that Diddy is now facing, all that could have in fact been preventable. And I don't want to judge. I'm not judging, okay? Because whatever you want to do in your bedroom, do what you want to do. But when you harming people and harming others, or forcing people, or using your power to coerce people and things like that, that's totally different. You can be a freak all you want to. You can swing from chandelier, get in a swing, get you a dildo machine. You do whatever you want, as long as it's consensual. That's all. So, cross-examination began with, she's still on the stand. Cassie's still on the stand, reading explicit text messages. And as they continue on, the defense team is still trying to prove that there was no coercion or trafficking involved. Because, for one, a lot of the freak-offs Cassie helped Diddy set up. A lot of them, which she enjoyed doing. And she stated that. She's been honest. She stated, yes, in the beginning, for some time, I enjoyed doing them. Why? Because I loved him. He loved doing it. And I wanted to make him happy. And this is basically, he told her, this is how we rock. This is how we rock. And we know from rumors and from other cases that a lot of people in the music world, the celebrities, the entertainment business, that's how they rock. And he said, if you want to be a part of me, you got to be a swinger. Absolutely. What up, Big Riggs? I'm just reading y'all comments. They said the defense want her sitting before the jury comes in. Mm-hmm. He is out. He is out way more than the initial 30 million. Yes. And let me make sure I got all, because y'all know I can go on and on without reading the chat. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but shout out to Big Riggs. I was in your chat the other day. You had a really good show over there. And he was covering some of the Diddy Trial too, as well as other celebrities as well. So y'all make sure y'all check him out. Make sure y'all check him out. Wednesdays, he go live every Wednesday for West Coast Wednesdays. And then on Sunday, we flip-flop and we take turns on each other's panels. And we have this is what it's called, From the Block to the Hood table. Okay, y'all better catch our show. But anyway, we'll be on his panel this Sunday evening and then back again on my panel the next week. But anyway, again, make sure you guys like and share the video on your way in, please, and thank you very much. Now, so as far as the cross, again, they're trying to prove there's no coercion or trafficking, especially since she helped set up a lot of the freak-offs. They're also trying to prove that by her reading those explicit text messages, because in those explicit text messages, it shows a lot of consensual text messages. Like, I'm down for this. I enjoy this. You know, I love the freak offs and woo 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 woo. They made her read a lot of those text messages out loud. There was pages and pages, and in some of those text messages, it was her helping Diddy to coordinate those events. And one particular message, she was like, it can take place wherever, whenever you want, whatever day you want to hold it, because I'm always ready for a free call. Laugh out loud. That's what the text message said. So that was one of the messages that they had her read out loud. Now, she did admit, again, that in the beginning, she was young. She was naive. She did enjoy them. But just yesterday, she expressed remorse and even helping him select the prostitutes who participated. And I think why she's doing that, because people were talking about that. I think Riggs, did you talk about that too? About the prostitutes? I think Riggs, I heard you talk about, because it's illegal, right? And when they first started talking about it during this trial, she was like, I didn't know it was illegal. You didn't know it was illegal to pay somebody thousands of dollars? If you paid them $10 to have sex, that's illegal. Okay? But he made over $6 million. He made over let me say it again. He made over $6 million to have sex. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. And my Cardi B boys, that's a lot of money. My nigga. $6 million. They said he had $1 million house. Well, almost $1 million. I think they said it was like 800,000 or some shit like that. But damn. Ew. Anyway, I could never. I don't care how much money. That's like selling your soul to the devil. Certain things, there's just not enough money that you can pay certain people to do. And then to hear the prostitutes say he was so happy and excited to be in their circle that he would have had sex with Cassie for free. Now that part, I'm going to call you a fool if you would have done it for free. Who else did I hear say that? Was it A.T. Alien? Or was it? No. It was T.S. Madison. It was the T.S. I love me some T.S. But on her Fag Talk show with Craig, she was like, this motherfucker talking about she was like, shit. And T.S. used to be a whole prostitute, okay? She used to walk them streets. She was like, shit, I wish I would have sex for free. And we talking about Diddy money. If you're going to do it, you might as well get paid. It is illegal, but I'm just saying, if you're going to do it, you might as well get paid. But if your ass get locked up, don't tell them the hood table told you, okay? What up, Room Shaker? How you doing, boo? You said the text was from 2009. She was tired by 2012. I want to see the text from 2015 to 2016. They got a lot of text messages to go through. She went through a lot of text messages today. A lot of text messages. But yeah, so basically, you know what else they was talking about? They was talking about his mother. Now, I didn't know this. Some of y'all might have knew this, but I didn't know this because, for one, I still have yet to watch the documentary on Diddy. I haven't watched it yet. I keep telling myself I'm gonna watch it, but fuck, the trial is going on now. What the hell? Ain't no sense in watching it now, right? But anyway, they were talking about how his mother, Janice, had returned to court. And they said since his arrest, she has also been entangled in his legal troubles. This I did not know. This part right here. She has been named in multiple lawsuits, claiming that she herself concealed his alleged misconducts. I didn't know that. Why y'all didn't tell me that? I didn't know his mama was on it too, child. Listen. Diddy is trying to sue NBC for $100 million for defamation of character for that documentary, because they saying his defamation is full of lies, because in the documentary they're saying that the reason why he is the way he is because his mother, when he was little, used to throw big ass parties kind of similar to what the fuck he doing. And he was exposed to a lot of sex and a lot of drugs. Now, we even had a talk last week about the people back in the 70s, all the flower people, especially. That's all they did was have orgies and shit. And they didn't call them freak offs or nothing like that. But they would have sex parties. They would always be high on drugs, and then they would get up the next day and go to fucking work like ain't shit happened. But Diddy saying it's all lies. I don't know. But what y'all think about that? You said that's why everything in his mama name. What's that song? What's that song? Data Blue. Everything in my mama's name. Stay fly. That's the name of the song. I got a quarter take so. I can't remember all the words, but I know that part. But yeah, everything in my mama's name. That was my shit though, man. We used to bump that shit in the hood, boy. Yes, that was my shit. But anyway. So some of the text, let's just go through some of the text messages. Now it was so many. But one of the text messages that she read out loud, she used to call him Pop, which she now says she found it disrespectful because that's what she calls her real Pop, right? Her real, grandpa. But she used to call him Pop. And there was a text message where she was saying, Diddy had wrote to her saying, "We are so in love. We don't do anything else. And how long have you been seeing each other?" And Ventura, they keep calling her Ventura as they have to because it's court. So I'm going to say Cassie. But they were saying, how long have you been with each other? 2.5 years. We was talking about our current relationship. They were talking about how she felt like she wasn't getting enough attention from him sometime. They read certain text messages that said, I haven't talked to you at all. You don't even try. You rush me off the phone. I'm really hurt. I don't need your money. I know y'all probably heard that because it's been on that's been one of the main text messages that people have been reading or repeating today. I need some attention. You wanted your special time with Diddy. And they say, yeah. Because it seemed from that text message right there, what a lot of people are reading from that is that outside of the freak offs, he didn't really have shit to do with her. Like they didn't have like one-on-one. You know how it is. You want to be with your man. You want to go out to eat. You just, that one-on-one time. And most of the time that they spent, the freak offs was every week. 1 to 4 days. So on the days that she was resting and trying to get rid of the UTI and the bumps in her mouth, she wanted some quality time with him. That's what people are reading into that. Okay. But yeah, there was text messages where, Okay, they was talking about her being on her period. Would you be thinking about when you're horny? There was one time when they asked her, if you don't want to read the answers, I can read them for you. But that's another thing I gotta shout out to Cassie. She is being very strong because reliving all this shit, it has to take a toll on you. And keep in mind, she's on her 3rd trimester of her pregnancy. But even with him staring daggers in the back of her head or the side of her head, she's mainly keeping her composure. Mainly. Let me get a drink. But yeah, she is doing a very good job, despite what she's up there reading, trying to keep her composure. A few times she did break down and cry. A few times she did ask the judge for a break. But, she's doing a very good job of keeping her composure. So they said in one message, they said, when she was being crossed, they said, you testified that you told him, I love you so much, you make me a better woman. And she said, I definitely wrote those messages. And they said, you wrote, I can't wait until we have a baby of our own. You knew that he had 6 children at the time. And she said, yes. So this is when she's being questioned by the prosecution. So they said, so now these messages about the free call. When you say, it doesn't matter to me, you mean weekend or weekday. Either is fine. And Cassie said, that's what it says. So right there, that's one of the things they're going to be using regarding the free calls. You said anywhere, anytime, any place, any day. Okay. And then Diddy says, well, maybe we can call Jules. Can you do it? Cassie said, yes, I can do it. She can arrange for it. Excuse me. Then there was an explicit message from her about the anticipating upcoming freak off. And they was like, objection. So then they asked her, they said, you will remember if an assistant came in during one of your sessions with an escort. And she said, not necessarily. I was high. We do know she said she was high a lot. And they said, so you don't remember much? And she said, I had my privacy invaded a lot during that relationship. Now, this is from the July 2012 free call. This one of the text messages they were reading said, I'm horny and bored. And they said, this was after a freak off, right? And she said, there were a lot of text messages here. It was 25 pages to be exact. One of the text messages around this was early this morning that they read. They said, this is from Diddy to you. You responded with an extremely explicit message, right? Cassie said, yes. This is 2 days after the planning of a free call, right? And she said, yes. And he said, I want to see. How did you reply? Cassie said, I can't. She's reading the text messages. She said, I can't wait either. And the attorney said, you wrote, I feel like I want to fuck. And the man said, right? Cassie said, yeah. She said, that's what it says. I'm so horny, I can't concentrate. These are from July 2012 again. Okay. So, mind you, she broke up with him for good in 2018. And they started dating in, was it 2005? I think they started dating in 2005. And they broke up for good in 2018. I don't. That's what I think. Now, also, there were some more text messages, of course. Let's see. Okay, so Cassie said that I'll go to the Dwayne Reed for candles and then set up the room. Diddy said, did you understand? No, the prosecutor said, did you understand that he was going to take another video of you? Objection, speculation. The judge told you, just move on. They said, you asked, any pills on you? And she said, yes. What pills were you taking? She said, opiates. She did say yesterday that she had got addicted to opioids to keep her numb because she was in so much pain after the free calls, and especially with the UTIs and everything. So they asked her what type of pills. And they also said, did you delete the videos on your device? That's what she had asked him. And Cassie said, yes. They said, what did you write? Cassie said that I need to feel this. This is my husband, the only one who will see this side of me. I think that's supposed to say I need to film this because they were about to do a video. Let's see. The next part says, you said Diddy often put you down, but he also sent you encouragement and called you a queen, right? Cassie said yes. They said, what would trigger Diddy incessant calls to you? And Cassie said anger, doubt about where I was. Now, she did talk about yesterday how they were always tracking her. I don't know if what that means. She had a tracking device or Diddy had a tracking device on her or whatnot. But what she said yesterday was they were always tracking her. And if she wasn't where Diddy thought she should be, or if she was lying about where she was, he would send his security team to hunt her down and track her down. So, yeah, she said that would anger him if he didn't know where I was or if he had doubts about where I was. Right. So, another one of the text messages was, if he suspected you of cheating, he'd call you incessantly. And she said, yeah, that was one of the reasons because he thought, and then the judge objects or the attorney objection. Judge said that's the stain. All right. And then some more of the text messages. We're just moving along through here. Let's see. What's a good one? Okay. Okay. For this, these are just text messages. I don't think they were reading them in any type of order. They were just going through all the pages, right? So this text message said, "Who was at your 21st birthday party in Vegas?" That's what they asked her. She replied, "Brittany, Dallas, Austin, Estavo." They said, "How did you get them there?" She said, "They came for Sean." Um, he said, "You're very beautiful and charming." And she said, "Thank you. It's true." I don't know what the hell that was about. That was the conversation between her and the attorney. Okay. So they said, "Who is Tommy Mottola?" Who is Tommy Mottola? I don't know who that is. But Cassie said, "A very well-known producer." They said, "You were an up-and-coming star." Cassie said, "I guess you could say that." They asked her, "After you signed with Bad Boys, things were still platonic?" She said, "Yes." I'm trying to get to the good ones. Trying to get one. He still run his companies even while having those. Okay, so they asked her, "Did he still run his companies even while having all these free calls?" And Cassie said, "Yes." They asked, "What was he addicted to?" And Cassie kind of laughed. They said she laughed and said, "Success." Obviously, that's obvious, right? But they said, "What substances?" Because she had the joke there, and she said opiates. Cassie said, "Yes, he told me and I saw it. So I guess he was addicted to opioids as well as she was addicted to opioids." They asked, "Did Mr. Combs' mood depend on whether or not he was withdrawing from the opiates?" Cassie said he was more irritable, I would say. They asked her, "What other drugs was Diddy addicted to?" And then objection. "No foundation, judge. I'll ask if I want the grounds." Sustained, rephrase. They asked, "What was his drug of choice?" Cassie said ecstasy or MDMA. They asked, "Opiates daily?" Cassie said, "When he was doing them." They said, "Did you see him go through withdrawal?" And she said, "Yes." Okay, then a little bit after that, they broke for break. They took a lot of breaks today, which I can imagine. Sitting up there all those hours reading all those text messages, some of them very explicit. So they did take a lot of breaks today. And then at one point in time, they said we might not be able to finish tomorrow. This is the most important witness. The judge said for months we said this witness had to be on the stand by the end of the week. They talking about they don't know if they're going to finish by tomorrow because she got all them goddamn text messages, okay? So the judge said for months, y'all said she had to be off the stand by the end of the week, and now y'all talking about we ain't going to be able to finish it to tomorrow. They said our direct was a day and a half, so limit to that. Anyway, so when they brought the jury back in, they said, "Cassie, you love Mr. Combs or Diddy, right?" She said, "I did." She said, they said for 11 years you took care of him. She said, "In some ways." And they asked, "Do you call him larger than life?" And she said, "I did." They said, "Others call him Diddy or Puff Daddy, but you called him Sean, right?" She said, "Yes." And they said, "You knew a version of him the rest of the world couldn't see, right?" Objection. It was a lot of objection. Judge overruled. Ventura got to answer. She said, "In ways." They asked her, "You kept coming back to him for 11 years." She said, "I wouldn't call it coming back because she really didn't leave. I think that's what she was trying to say. They said, "You believe he loved you too?" Ventura said, "I did believe he loved me too." And they said, "So when he cheated on you, it hurt?" Cassie said, "Not every time." Wow, ain't that some shit? I guess she was so used to a lot of bullshit and used to them being swingers and having sex with different people. I guess cheating was just like something normal, maybe. But she said not every time. So then they go on to say, what was going on when these messages were sent? Okay. They said, "Why did you send this message?" She said, "To let him know I was going to dinner." They said, "What was going on when these messages were sent?" She said, "I'm not sure." They asked, "What was going on in your relationship then?" She said, "It was early. We were loving." And then they said, "Objection being offered for the truth." Why is my phone still going off? I thought I had it on silent. Hold on, you guys. So I'll put my phone on silent. Okay. There we go. All right. So they said please read. And so she wrote, I love you, smiley face. I'll fly anywhere for you. I love you, Cass. And they said this is 2009. That's what they were referring to in the chat earlier. They said this is 2009 email. And they was objection again, hearsay, ask more questions. And then they said from BlackBerry, what is BG? And she said baby girl. So I guess that's her nickname or something that he called her baby girl. That's what BG means. They said Mr. Combs taught you how to have oral sex. She said he did. Child, she was 19. It's a lot you can learn when you're young, right? But she said he did. And they told her, look at this. Tell me when you're ready. Can you read it? And she said, you can read it. It's making me laugh. It's from 2007. They said, you wrote it. I feel protected. You are sweet. Then they said you wrote, I see that Carrie is better fitting for you. I'm hurt that you think I'm malicious. You're very important to me. And Cassie laughs. And they said, what are you trying to convey? And she said, it's like a journal entry. They said, you discussing Carrie Morgan? Did you think that Diddy was attracted to her? She said, there was a point in the very beginning. Did that complicate or did that complication carry on in your relationship? She said, not really. Carrie was just always with us. So once again, it's like he's interested in someone else, maybe even have a relationship with her, but not a big deal. She's always with us. Okay. Then they said, is it fair to say his career was ruined after your lawsuit? She said, I could understand that. And they said, let's read these messages. Diddy wrote, when are you on your period? Cassie said, not now. I don't know. Okay, these are text messages. Some of them we just gotta read them, okay, for what it is. Then they asked her again, if you don't want to read these, somebody else can read them. They said the attorney said, Miss Ventura, if you don't want to read the answers, I can read them. She said, thank you. Okay. And then he said, these have a lots of O's after them, right? And she said, yes. After a freak off, you made love with Diddy? And she said, yes. And the judge, they took another break around that time. So, and then after she entered back in, they still was doing the cross. They said, you wrote, I love our freak offs when we both wanted. Did y'all hear that? She said, this is what she put in text messages. She said, I love our freak offs when we both wanted. That's probably going to be proven to be very important right there. I think so. She said loving freak offs were just words at that point. And so then Diddy wrote to her, I want to freak out right now. And she wrote back, she wanted it too. She said, laugh out loud, me too. And Cassie said, I text more than that. So the lawyer was like, but did you text that to him? Did you write to him, laugh out loud, me too? And then Diddy wrote, Jules is available if you are into it. Now, Jules was one of the escorts. Again, there was many escorts. He was one of them. The only one that we heard from on the stand was that first one, Philip. Hey, Seven, how you doing? I've been checking out your videos, girl. You over there doing your thing and your romance and your man and all that. Shout out to you, girl. Shout out to you. I love me some black love. Okay. But yeah, so then Diddy said your period. They said, so he was asking about your period because we heard her say the other day that she was forced to have sex on her menstrual, right? So he said, your period, Mr. Combs or Diddy, he was asking when you were on your period, right? And she was like, yes. And so the attorney said he's asking in the context of when you want to meet up and when you want to have sex. Cassie said, looks like it, even though that's what was in the text messages. She also said that sometimes she would watch him with a female. Several times she mentioned. They asked her about the swingers lifestyle. Did you talk to him about the swingers lifestyle? And she said that no one talks about. Were you keeping freak off secrets from your friends? She said yes, obviously. Who wants to tell their homies that they doing freak outs and getting urinated on, pissed on, and all that kind of shit? My homegirls been like, bitch, you crazy. They probably wouldn't want to have shit to do with me after that. But then again, I got some nosy ass homegirls too. They be like, girl, give me all the details. Break it down to me. But yeah, so it's basically a secret. They asked, does his assistants help him with the free calls? And she said the assistants help with everything. Child. The assistants help with everything. Ooh. Man, I've said this time and time again, but what it would be to be a fly on the fucking wall. Like, okay, you go grab the baby oil. You go grab the camera. You go grab the towels. You go get the prostitutes. You go get the, get the bottles of wine. Get the drugs. Get the... Child. They said, you could have said yes or no. You said, love you. Cassie said there was no yes or no. And so then Diddy had said, do I have your permission to set up some freaky fun? And she responded, yes. There's a lot of messages in there where she was like down with it, helping him coordinate, telling him whenever, when, just choose the time, pop, you know what she would call them. Mm-hmm. And so then it was another text message. They said, they asked her, here, what did this say? And she said, I asked which hotel. And she said she might have called him in between. She didn't want to assume anything. So they asked her, he said the Montage, and you said you could also go to the Pleasure Chest. And what would you get there? Sexual supplies. What is the Pleasure Chest, y'all? Child, let me look that up. Do I need to Google? She was very complicated, Seven. Very complicated. Pleasure Chest. It's a whole store. Okay, so it's like an Adam and Eve or something like that. They sell all kind of toys and shit. Oh no, the whole case ain't just about her. It's like 40 people. It's like 40 cases because they said they didn't want to do them all together. They didn't want to do a action lawsuit, a class act. They wanted to do everybody individually. So remember, after Cassie dropped her shit and came public with her shit, then everybody named Mama was calling that attorney talking about he did this to me and he did that to me, and they had to weed through everybody. So yeah, it's like 40 of them. You said, yes, yes, Melissa. Oh, child. Laverne and the Gaslighter. Boy, I tell you, I never knew so much shit went down in my city till I interviewed her and the husband and the wife. I was like, if that ain't a throuple, if that ain't a damn throuple. Yeah, Diddy mama was helping. She was helping. I could see, but then again, like they said, Diddy's mama, when he was growing up, she had sex parties. She had drug parties. And if you doing that shit like around your kids, see, this what happens. This what happens. You do drugs around your kids, illegal activities. 9 times out of 10, I mean, shit, we reviewing Power. I know it's a whole TV show, but one of the things he was saying, like, mama, you've been slanging and busting heads all my damn life, the queen pin and all this shit, and you want me to go to college? The fuck I want to go to college for? I'm in the streets like you, ma. You know, yeah. I'm just saying. Oh, complicit. Yes, that as well, Seven. That as well. Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. She was complicit for a long time, Seven, for years. And then, I mean, some people, it takes them forever to leave. And that's why I know there are people who judge people who don't leave relationships where they've been abused or, you know, things like that. It takes them a long time to leave. I don't judge. I've never been one of those people who be like, why you didn't leave then? Well, why you didn't call the cops then? Well, why you go back? Well, why you go out? I've never been that type of person. We didn't cover so many different court cases and stories like this shit, and y'all never see me blame women or children or nothing like that. It's just, it's hard to understand unless you're in somebody's shoes. So I have, you know what I'm saying? I just, it is what it is. It is what it is. And then as far as being a victim of some bullshit myself growing up, which I talked about in the past, and how some people didn't believe me. It's like, what? Y'all don't believe me? Like I'm a liar or something? I've never been known to be a liar. I've never been known to make up stories and shit like that, but that happens to a lot of people when they're young. People don't want to believe them or they really believe them, but they don't want to make changes to get them away from the harm. And we see that all the fucking time. All the fucking time. That's why I've always been so damn protective of my children when they were growing up. I'm still protective over them. And they grown ass niggas. And I'm protective of their kids too. My grandbaby, I'm so protective over him. You would think he was mine. Shit. And he looks just like me too. So people be like, damn, that boy look just like you. Like, well, that's because his dad looked like me. But yeah, I've been protective of my nieces, nephews, my brothers, all children. You I bet not even get a thought that something is going on with a child that I know. Shit, let me pull you to the side. I done that to kids before. Let me put down, Auntie Tanya love you, right? And you can tell me anything. If you ever feel like you can't go talk to your parent, I know Auntie T. I know I ain't shit. I don't play about the kids. Tanya love the kids, and that's real shit. You said I still say you are adopted. No, my sons, I hardly ever call him my grandson. I always call him baby. Where's my baby? Mom, he's right here. Put him on the phone. Okay, here he come. Where's my baby? When's my baby coming over? I don't never call him my grandson. That's my baby. And my son and them and his mom be like, we know that's your baby. We know. We just raising him. We had him, but he's all yours. You said, yeah, things are never black and white. They're never black and white. You said his daddy was an informant. See, I didn't know that either. Maybe I do need to dive into that documentary because I always wanted to watch it, but I always got sidetracked for some reason. Then once the trial came along, I was like, ain't no need of me. I can see everything and hear everything that I need in the trial. Most likely what's in the documentary probably going to come out in the trial, but I think I might, maybe this week. After tomorrow's court section, I probably will watch that this weekend. Probably will. But anyway. Okay, so there was another point in time where they asked, let's just say, you could have said yes or no. Okay, we read that already. Okay, so he had asked her, do I have your permission to set up Freaky Fun? And she wrote ovulation. So I guess she was on her menstrual at that time. And so after that, they say, here, what did you say here? And she said, I asked which hotel. Oh, yeah, we read that already. Never mind. Okay, what's next? Frustrated you don't answer his text fast enough. You tell him to come to New York. You also saw the Book of Mormon. Yes. Are you ready for tonight? What do you say? Yes. Okay. So there's another point in time where I guess they was having a freak off. And they said, you also saw the Book of Mormon. She said, yes. And she laughed. He said, mass pleasure. Is that a sex club? And Cassie said, I would assume. And he asked, are you ready for tonight? What did you say? Cassie said, yes. I just have to get some things. Boy, the prosecution, I don't know if they got it for this. I don't know, child. They said if you saw him on social media on vacation was it heartbreaking? And she said it could be. I was 7 years in. And they said, what about this about Gina? You wrote, I don't want to be a side piece, but I'll treat you as a king. So there was obviously a lot of different females that he was messing around with while he was with her. Because they asked her several times, Were you jealous? Did you like it? Were you angry? You know, different females that he was fucking around with. And so they asked her, you wanted to be his main girlfriend? And she said yes in 2013. And they said, you saw social media posts of Diddy with other girlfriends and got angry, right? And Cassie said, can I speak? I was jealous of certain situations. I don't know if they was trying to put words in her mouth right there because she said, can I speak? And then they said, did there come a time he suspected you were in a relationship with someone in the industry? Mr. Muscudi. I don't know who the hell that is. But Cassie said yes. And they said, Diddy thought it would be good for your career if you collaborated with, Cuddy. his real name is Muscudi. Hold up, child. Hold up. Is that his real name? Hold up, Google. Muscudi. What? I didn't know his name. Okay, Scott Ramon Seguro Muscudi. Okay, learn something new every day. Always call him Kid Cudi. All right. Y'all should have told me. Y'all be slipping. Y'all all fired. You said his dad was a snitch. That's why Diddy started that no snitching campaign. Oh. You said that male escort made me mad. That was R. Kelly and her. Oh, you know what? That's why, Dwayne, I said him and R. Kelly probably was best of friends because they both like that bullshit. Now, Kelly was actually doing the urinating with Cassie, unless we find out later something different. It was the prostitute, the escort, who was doing the urinating. You said I never heard of Cudi. You never heard of Cudi before this trial? Child, yeah, Kid Cudi been around forever. Forever. Yes, he's been around forever. Mm-hmm. But yeah, he was back in, let's say it's 2000. They started dating in 2005. I think he started his career a little bit before that. Like a couple of years before Cassie and Diddy started messing around. But yeah, he's in the hip hop and things like that. He's a rapper. But yeah, you said Kid Cudi car was said. That's what they were talking about yesterday. And I think they're going to get into that tomorrow. They didn't really get into that today, but they did speak on that yesterday. They sure did at the end of the day. So I don't know. But that is part of the charges. In the indictment, one of them was arson. So that was for Kid Cudi's car. So they said Diddy thought it could be good for your career if you collaborated with Mr. Cudi. And the attorney said, Mr. Muscudi. And Cassie said yes. They then said after Diddy found out by going through your phone, you went to see him, you knew he was upset. He previously attacked you. Cassie said yes. I thought I'd be safer with other people there. They said the physical abuse. When did your father learn about it? Cassie said same time as my mother. They said, did Diddy come to Connecticut to speak to your parents? And she said, I don't know if it was then. And they said, Carrie Morgan knew about the abuse? Yes. They said, you sent a video not only to Diddy, but also to the staff. Who? And she said, they said D-Rock? And she said, yes. They said, you sent it to them because you were angry with all of them? And Cassie said, yes, I was hurt. Wow. Y'all hear that? She sent a video to the staff and to D-Rock because she was hurt. She must have been really fucked up because she said she spent a lot of time with them, a lot of his assistants, a lot of the staff. And they said, you thought they were in on it? And she said, yes. That's when Diddy got in her ass about Cudi. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's see. Read some more. We almost done here. We almost done here. I'm skipping through some shit, y'all. I'm just reading y'all the juiciest shit. So I'm skipping through some text messages. Let's see. Okay, in this particular one, this led up to the hotel incident. They said Diddy went to your premiere lunch at a London hotel, and she said he did. They said, then he says, I just got out of a spiritual therapy session, and Cassie said, I asked, how did it go? The attorney said he said it's a process. This is leading up to the hotel incident. Correct. So they say, you said, baby, I want to F off, F-O so bad. And the F-O is freak off. So she said, I want to freak off so bad. And they said, you were asking your direct and said you didn't want him to ruin your premiere. And Cassie said, sure. So they said, Diddy says, if we start at 7 p.m., and go until 4 a.m., you can get enough rest. Child, how many hours is that? Hold up. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2. That's 10 hours. She did say it goes from like 1 to 10 hours and sometimes up to 4 days. That's a 10-hour session, yo. And then she got to do a whole premiere lunch. He talking about you can get enough rest before you got to be there. That's 10 hours. He says 7 p.m. until 4 a.m. That's a lot of fucking. Okay, so then the attorney said, I would ask that the witness be allowed to read the entire document. The judge said, how many pages? They said 8. This wasn't because remember there was one that was 25, there was one that was 14 pages, and there was one that was 8 pages. Then they said the prosecutor said we don't have a copy for the witness. The attorney said we'll show it on the screen, but not in the public gallery. Again, a lot of this stuff is not for the public. So what we are literally hearing these statements is basically people in the courtroom who are sending them to websites and uploading them for the media so that we can see what's being said because we can't watch. We can't hear. So we're just going off of tidbits from different reporters. And, you know, this is what we get. This is just how we got to do it, okay? You know? But they said, you said Diddy often put you down. Okay, I think we already read that. Okay, so at one point in time, Diddy wrote, surprise package coming from out of state. Why can't I reach you? And they said, what did you say? And she said, I was getting my brows done. And they said, did you come to know Diddy was leaving to freak off to go see Kim Porter? What? Hold up. Let me take a drink. You said it was the Ciroc. He drugged everybody. That's what they said. He drugged everybody. And they said, Dwayne, you heard that it was in the baby oil too. Allegedly. It was in the baby oil. Mm-hmm. And they said at one point when she was choking, they were both pissing in her mouth at the same time. Mm-hmm. And she was telling them to do it slow. Because I guess they just thought they was like really a toilet. Remember when we was interviewing Laverne and the husband and the wife, Mel? And he called her a cum bucket, a toilet. That's what he called Laverne. That's literally what they was doing to Cassie. She ain't nothing but a toilet. And she was basically telling them, you know, do it slow. Like, piss a little, hold back. Piss a little, hold back. If this was my daughter, child. I know plenty of niggas who would love to go inside Diddy's head and have that been their daughter or their sister or their cousin or their homegirl. And yeah, you can say, well, she stayed all that time. But I'm telling you, I know plenty who would try to go inside his head. They probably couldn't do it, you know, because he got all kind of security and bodyguards and shit like that. But they would want to, okay? They would want to. They would probably try. Yeah, they would probably try. You said that's the meat and potatoes of it all. Mm-hmm. You said, but boo, they striking a lot from the stand. I want to know what's on them tapes. Right. They keeping a lot. Like the tapes, of course, the jury And the attorneys are the only one that's going to be able to hear that. Everybody else in the gallery, they won't be able to hear that. We'll probably never be able to hear what's on the tapes. You said you want Al B. Shore to take the stand too? Yeah, because they said Al B. Shore was caught up in that shit too, even though he denied. You know, you're always supposed to deny. Until somebody can physically put, or not physically, but until somebody can put concrete proof on you, deny. Then he said, y'all remember when he checked Cassie's father, told him he was her daddy now? Got her calling him Pop. Now you see that, right? She called her father and them Pop, and he got her calling him Pop. Ain't that some fucked up shit? But did y'all hear that? They said, did you come to know that Diddy was leaving to go the freak offs to go see Kim Porter? She said yes. And then there's another chick. How did you find out about Gina? They said, how do you feel? Did it upset you? She said yes. It prompted arguments. Cassie said, yeah, it did. And then they said, and he thought you were not faithful. What were his reactions? She said, scary. So it was like he could sleep with as many women as he wants, even his baby mom. Like he could sleep with everybody. But once or even if he thought she was messing around with somebody. And that's the crazy thing. You pay people to have sex with her, but let her go off on her own and try to fuck with somebody on her own without you knowing, then she get her ass beat. If she don't want to have sex with the prostitutes and the escorts, she get her ass beat. If she too high or fucked up and drugged up, she get her ass beat. They asked her for drugs. You both go to rehab? She said rehab wasn't a thing during our relationship. They asked her, the free calls were an opportunity for you to take drugs together. She said yes. They said you went a lot to Burning Man. They said yes. They said, did you ever call yourself Get High Partners? She said yes, we did. They said, did you take drugs from him without him knowing it? She said yes. What was his reaction? She said explosive. They said, did he tell LA dealers not to deal with you? Yes, because remember, some of the drugs that they're getting, some came from pharmacies, some came from doctors writing prescriptions, and some of that shit came from drug dealers on the street. And he was telling dealers not to fuck with her. They said the drugs were bad MDMA, right? She said, I have no idea. Around that time, the judge said, okay, it's 5:00, y'all. Jurors, you can go home. Do not look up anything else about the case. All rise. Thank you, Mrs. Ventura, aka Cassie. No discussion with the government. We'll see you tomorrow. All right. That was the end. So that's all I got. Again, there was a lot of other shit that I didn't think that was as juicy to repeat. So a lot of the stuff I didn't repeat, but I just tried to get like the meat and potatoes of shit, get the juicy parts. But yes, it's all about a control thing. You said that's what's his son with Kim Porter. Yep. Yeah, that was his son. Yeah. You know, it's a control thing. Yep. They get him a JC. You know what? Ooh, Dwayne, how you feel about Jay-Z? Because a lot of people don't think Jay-Z and Bey. It's some people. We talked about this the other day, and the media was talking about it. They said it's some people who are such loyal fans to some of these celebrities, some of these moguls, that they can't do no wrong in their eye. They will continue to support them and have their back. And even if people even know that they're really, really doing something wrong, they'll be up there. They didn't do it. They just want to take a brother down. They just want to take a sister down. They just hate and they jealous. Yeah, he hiding. He hiding, and he as he should. He needs to run off to another country where he can't be extradited. I could be wrong. But I really feel like it's really going to come out one day. Some shit involving Jay and Bey. I really, really think it's going to be some shit that's going to come out. I hope I live to see it. Because I mean, if I could bet my life on it, I would. I firmly believe that they have been involved in some shit. I just do. I just do. Mm-hmm. The Rock Nation, it's all gonna come out. It's all gonna come out. I believe it. And I would hate to hear that Bay orchestrated or coordinated a lot of the shit. I would hate to hear that, but I just have a feeling. It's just too many people running around in these circles doing the same shit. And to children in the industry. A lot of children this day, what is this, 2025? A lot of children who came up and was in the entertainment world in the 80s, the 90s, and the early 2000s, they all fucked up. You don't know. You ain't heard from them motherfuckers in years. I'm talking about talented kids, actors, singers, rappers. They just fell off the face of the earth. And a lot of times, why do they do it? We didn't hear celebrities say a lot of these entertainers that seem like they're going somewhere, they get tired of the fuck shit and get tired of, okay, if you do this, this can happen. If you do this, that can happen. They get tired of these entertainers, these producers having their life in their hand. Like Cassie is describing with her career. Diddy had total full control over me and my career. The 10 album deals that got scrapped, she literally could have sued him for that alone. That's why I said yesterday, and I know some people disagree with me, but I said yesterday that she should have got way more than the money that she got from Diddy. Not just from what he did to her, not just the rape, not just the beatings, all that kind of shit, but she was 19 and he took advantage of her. He promised her 10 album deals and she didn't get them. And that's despite the fact that her ass ain't no Whitney Houston. That's despite the fact. Because there's a lot of people out there who I don't think shit. They can sing. They can do the damn thing in the studio, but let them go on stage without any music. They sound like Milli motherfucking Vanilli. Matter of fact, did y'all watch the Milli Vanilli movie? Oh my God, that was so good. Oh my God. You know what? I sat on that movie for a long time. I kept seeing it when I be watching my different networks and shows, my Netflix and Hulu's and all that kind of shit. I kept seeing it scroll across the screen. I'm like, I don't want to watch that shit. I don't want to watch that shit. It ain't going to be that interesting. That shit was so fucking interesting to see how the producers, to see the real people behind Milli Vanilli. Like, you would never think that there was singers and rappers, I'm talking women and men, who got together, got in a studio, and made all these songs and music. And nobody ever knew. They always thought it was they always thought it was Rob and Fab out there doing all those concerts, recording all that music. And there was real people in the background. Like, it's so wrong. It's like so wrong on so many levels. Because even me, I wouldn't want to be singing. I can sing. Like, them people could sing, right? Like, if I could really, really, really sing, I can understand somebody putting me on background or vocals because I ain't good enough to be no lead singer or no A1 artist or nothing like that. But to have my vocals and then you put somebody else out there saying it's me, me singing? Oh no, I couldn't deal with that. But those people was even getting paid nicely. They were able to put their kids to school, buy houses, take care of their parents. Everybody was getting paid very handsomely, including Rob and Fab from the Milli Vanilli. But there was a real lady named Millie. Who was one of the singers on the music. Like, it's crazy. That's just a little bit of the movie, but it was really good. I recommend, especially if you were fans of Milli Vanilli or you followed that storyline during that time. And then the guy that died, y'all know that one of them died. He got strung out on drugs. They both were doing drugs, but one of them went to rehab and got, taken care of. but the other one, he couldn't kick the habit. It's so sad in the end. Oh my God, it's so sad. But yeah, that's the Milli Vanilli movie that it was really good. I definitely recommend it. And they knew they couldn't sing. Like, did you watch it? Like, there was times when the real singers and producers who were over in London or wherever the hell they from, they was like, when they got over here to the States and when they got signed to the States, they were like, oh my God, they can't go to concerts. They can't do this. They can't do that. And Milli Vanilli, they was like, we can sing though. We can sing. They was taking lessons. They was taking voice lessons for months and months and years, and they still couldn't sing that well. But they was like, fuck that shit. We can sing. We can sing. Man, the first time they got up there on that stage and the motherfucking mic the music started fucking up. Man, they ran off the stage. And then they tried to tell all the fans, oh, they gave them some damn excuse. Just excusing what the fuck happened. But that shit, yeah, they was fine. They was what they tight ass, what do you call them damn pants? What they call them damn shorts? Oh my God. Biker pants and biker shorts. They had to give back everything. That was and then the show they highs and lows when they got rich, and then when they got broke and the places they had to live, like the embarrassment, the humiliation, like I could never come back home. I could never come back to the hood. Oh, they would drag me forever to eternity if I came back to the hood after some shit like that happened. But anyway, y'all, I'm about to get off of here. I like to come live. I like to come live earlier so I can have the rest of my day to chill and relax and watch some television and, catch up on some of my favorite YouTubers and, podcasters and things like that. But I hope you guys enjoyed day 4, my review of day 4. Again, we can't watch the trial, so we just got to go off of what we're hearing from all these different reporters that are in the courtroom. Excuse me. You say come back with another update. Oh, I'll be back tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'll be live twice, actually. Because tomorrow, hold up, is it tomorrow? Hold on, let me see. Hold on. I think tomorrow. It's tomorrow, Friday. What's today? Thursday. Okay, so yeah, tomorrow's Friday. I think season. What's tomorrow? Yep, tomorrow's the 16th. So episode 10 of Power Raising Canaan season 4. That's the finale. So episode 10 is a finale, and I did say last night when I did my review. No, I said the other night. Yeah, last night I said when I do a Power review, I'm going to do it probably like an hour after the show go off. Y'all know normally when I do my TV show reviews, unless it's a premiere or unless it's a finale, I normally wait a few days after the show because I like to give people time to watch the show because I've been doing TV show reviews for years. And a lot of times I used to do it right after the show. And people were like, I ain't even watch. You got spoilers. I can't watch you. So that's why I started waiting like a couple of days after to do my TV show reviews. So, but when it comes to premiere, when it comes to the finales, we go live right after them shits is done. So tomorrow I'll do another review around this time, like 3:30, 4:30, something like that. Of the day 5 of the Diddy Trial. And then after I watch Power season 4, episode 10 of Raising Canaan, like an hour later, we're going to come live. And I, again, think it's going to be a banger. These last 3 or 4 episodes of Power Raising Canaan has been lit, y'all. If y'all behind, please catch up, binge watch, so that you could join us on the finale tomorrow night. I would really appreciate that. Mel said, you know who was good and they just kind of disappeared? Trent D'Arby. Sign your name across my heart and wish. Oh, yes. I remember him. Oh, wow. It was a lot of people back in the day. A lot of people back in the day who were really, really great. Really, really good. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but anyway, he was kind of cute too. Mm-hmm. Yep. But okay, you guys, I'm about to get off of here. You said you think Rock gonna go? I don't know. See, last night we had a discussion about it after I did the trial. We was talking a little bit about it, and somebody said they think Marvin is going to be the one that has to go. And I would hate for any of them to go, to be honest. But if I had a choice of who would get taken out, it would be her. It would be Rock. Because out of all the characters that are in on the show, I love Lulu and Marvin, Kanan, Juke. I love all of them way more than Rock. Not saying that Rock isn't a great character, but for me, she doesn't really have a likability, and it ain't that she should. She's playing the character that she's supposed to be playing. She's playing the character that she's supposed to be playing. But with her character in the very beginning of the show, like season 1, season 2, Rock was putting in a lot of work out there. Now most of the people that's putting in the work, it's not her. It's not her at all. So again, she's playing her part, but I just favored some of the other characters more. Yeah. I just But yeah, so anyway, I'm gonna give y'all a chance to watch the show. Y'all go ahead and watch it. The people who haven't had a chance, I know some of y'all watch it at midnight when it first come on. So y'all go ahead and watch it. Tomorrow night, we're gonna be over here reviewing Power finale, episode 10. Okay, but on your way out, if you didn't do it already, please make sure you like and share the video. If you want to donate to the commentary, you can hit the Cash App, $ the Hood Table 402, or you can even hit the Super Chat if you want. Subscribe to the Hood Table if you happen to be new here, please, and thank you very much. And as usual, stay safe, be blessed, remain vigilant at all times, and always remember to keep it hood. And Dwayne, you can definitely hit that link tomorrow night if you want to join me discussing the review. Or you can just chill out in the chat. All right, y'all. I'm out. Bye.